What's going on, traders? How we doing out there? What's going on? Let's go ahead, hit the thumbs up. We're going to get Money Mitch started right now. As you guys can see, I'm looking fresh, just like you guys should be. And you know what? Today is happy hour. What I got right here? Let's see what I got right here. Mountain Standard IPA. Let's crack it back a little bit. Let's get Money Mitch started. It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch. What's going on, traders? It's good to see you guys. Yes. Let's go ahead. Let's crack back. Solar, if you're out there, you can start the drinking game that you usually play with me. I know you're out there. You'll probably bring it up. Easy. How we doing out there? It's good to see everybody in the chat. Hector, let's enjoy the show. All right, Chris will be joining me in a second. He's wrapping up his duties over there with a little bit of article. So we'll get into some of those topics in a second. But what you guys think of the market today, guys? I want to hear what you guys thought of the market in the chat. You guys seeing the shirt? Ooh. Just wait till I get on with Spencer in a little bit. That's going to be definitely fun, guys. So you guys already know, cracking it back. Lewis in the house. Oh, he likes the shirt. It's all about Verstappen. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to go to the Austin Grand Prix. We're going to enjoy it. Let's go ahead and just check out the SPY, see what we did. No one wants to see that, man. It's turning back down right now. But, hey, that's not the worst thing. Let's take a look at the SPY here, see how we looked on the daily chart. And, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened this week. But, I mean, what a ride back up, guys. Finishing off the week with 4 straight green days. Let me get some ones in the chat for either Verstappen, the badass, of course. If not, the SPY 4-day green run. I want to hear you guys. Cheers to that. I know pinky's up. I'm not mad about that. I definitely enjoy when the market's going up. Got to ride the roller coaster. Yep, you got to hold on tight sometimes. That's how it is. That's how it is for sure. Evolve rip right before the close. Ooh, we'll definitely have to talk about that a little bit later. Sunday in the house. Hey, appreciate you hitting that one there. Let's go ahead. All right, guys. So I'm going to just start the first topic. Chris should be joining up in a little bit, but what I'll do is, let's talk about the first one. The first one was, of course, Monday's stock market meltdown. What did you guys think? I mean, I gotta admit, we rewind to Monday. This didn't look so pretty right here. You know what I mean? We didn't have those 4 days, So this is what's going to happen a lot of the times. I mean, one of the things that I always like to do, and let me take off these indicators so you guys can see this kind of chart. So one of the things is I've been seeing the SPY trade in a trend for a long time. We kind of been stuck in this kind of, if you draw some trend lines, you could draw this up here. And every time we get close to like trying to break this bottom trend, every time, if you look, we've had moments back in March. Remember that really tough time in March? We tried to break it then, couldn't break it there. Then a little bit later, we came back and we kissed it. We go up and we kiss it. We go up and we just kissed it again. It just seems like we just want to continue being stuck in this channel. And now we're really pushing back up. So, hey, that's not a bad thing to be in. And a lot of times when you get those shakeouts, that's when a lot of times it's going to be the best opportunities to probably be going after some stocks, even though it's a little bit scary at that time. And you got to really set that close stop. At least that's what I like to do. That's when I think it's time to go after stocks because you're getting them at a discount and you're not buying off the highs, and I think this is so important. Happy said he got into a lot of positions, already sold half of them. I can't blame you, Happy. You got to take the profits. I mean, if you get good bottom lifts and you get that profit, nothing wrong with taking that money. Pre-market prep didn't close. Instead, it went to redirect. You know what, Solar? That's 100% on me. I was setting it up and then it closed out, but I guess it didn't grab it. I hit the save. It said setting saved, but hey, Solar, that one's on me. That's not on Spencer. So I kind of hurt myself there, shot myself in the foot. So you guys do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the share button. Verstappen is here. Verstappen is here. Easy. You got redirected. I don't know. Maybe it just kind of got mixed up there at the end, but you know how it goes. But definitely, guys, whenever we get these big knockdowns, that's when you got to start looking at some stocks, and really, that's when you have to have some cash in your account. This is why it's important. And what I'm going to state here is, not financial advice, but really more along what I really have seen. And a lot of traders do this where they use way too much of their account. They don't keep enough cash for moments like this. So when the stocks take this big drastic pullback, instead of you just worrying about your other positions, you're able to go ahead and either average into some or go ahead and get some new positions at a great discount. This is very important. I mean, we all want to get stocks at a discount. So, I mean, I'm not telling you that every single time you get a dip, you're going to be able to make a great gain. But one thing you're going to be able to do is set a line in the sand, jump in there, get them at a discount, get them into weakness, and then look, if you get any signs of strength, you're going to be able to make at least a good percentage return. So guess what, guys? I'm not going to be alone today. I'm happy about this because my man, none other than the one and only Chrisopedia in the house.
What's going on, brother? Guess who's back? Mitch and Chris again.
Guess who's back? Back.
Loving the shirt.
Oh, I busted it out. I had to.
I love them colors. If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. I got some soccer jerseys that look like that. So
yes, I had to represent. I had to go for the Dutch side jersey, instead of just the regular Red Bull one. When he came out with this one, I thought it was pretty legit too. So, all right. So we were talking about the stock market, kind of taking that huge dip on Monday. What did you think? I mean, I know I was impacted a little bit just because I had some positions. So I had to really focus in on averaging down, which I have, and put myself in a way better position now to get a good move back up. But what happened with you, Chris?
Yeah, I was down Monday. I think it's one of those times where you really have to kind of look and see what kind of trader you are, right? Are you a long-term? Are you a short-term? And also it's one of those days where maybe you reassess, why do I own this stock? Are you owning it because it's a swing, because there's a upcoming catalyst? Are you owning it because it's a long-term story, a long-term hold? Because that should really impact how big of a deal Monday's drop was for you, right? If you had a bunch of, high risk stocks that you were swinging, and you were in bad shape, it's because, that was the type of trading you were doing. But if you were, down in some positions, but they're long-term holds, it was kind of just another day, right? Because you still have the story. And then we saw Tuesday, right, that a lot of those stocks bounced back. So, that's what happened to me is I was down, but a lot of those stocks that were down were ones that I believe in, long term. So I didn't do, selling on Monday. I was looking actually to buy, on the dip there.
Hey, it's going to happen. I'm seeing some people had some good week at least. And that's what I want to hear, because at the end of the day, that's what we teach. We always try to teach process on Money Mitch or pre-market prep or just about any show that we do. Even on SPAX Attack, we talk about process and how to attack it. And really, I mean, when people go ahead and set themselves up for moments like this or buying at a discount, I think, it makes me happy that I hear moments like that, because at least that's kind of more what I would call investor logic. It makes sense to take an approach that way. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into our second topic of the day. This one's going to be an interesting one just because for a second there, we didn't know what was going to happen. And so I got to say, I mean, now it's going to be interesting what's going to happen. But Chris, it's done, baby. CCIV merger.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, right? We got this deal announcement. I mean, this deal announcement took a long time too, right? We had shares, shoot way up into the $60 level, on the rumor. And then we got the deal announcement. We saw shares come down. Then we struggled this week to get the vote to go through, right? Because not enough people voted. And then the news out this morning that, hey, let's go. Lucid Motors is approved on all shareholder proposals, and it will start trading as Lucid Group LCID on Monday. I'm a shareholder of CCIV. I'm excited to see this one get done, go through. I also think we're in for a crazy week of trading next week because I think they're going to be, top of mind for media. And I think maybe, they get an appearance on CNBC, Peter Rawlinson. So we'll see. But what did we end at today?
Yeah, that's the same thing was on my mind. Is what did we end at today?
I was like, I've been so busy, I didn't even look to see where we closed at.
Look at my drawing. Was it pretty accurate? I drew this in the morning. You guys can go look at my Twitter right now. I drew this in the morning. I love to do these little drawings. I just sit in the morning and I just feel like, I just look at the fancy little trees.
So it looks like we were up about 6%. It looks like to end the day. Then I almost called that out. That's probably what I would have guessed, is that we would have ended up about 4 or 5% today. I think this is a little bit higher than what I would have guessed. But again, I think the big story here is what happens on Monday. With a full day of trading, the new ticker. The other thing, Mitch, to watch, right? We've seen, that is an NFT. That's what I was thinking on Spax Attack too. The other thing, Mitch, right? We talked about how this morning the news came out at 9:00, so everyone could trade it. On Monday, it'll be really important to see because a lot of brokers struggle with the SPAC changeover, right? Some of them, you don't get your new shares, the new ticker right away. So you have to wait a day or two to trade.
That happened to me, Chris.
Yeah. So how could that impact Monday? Will we see a ton of volume on Monday, or will it actually be a lighter day because there aren't as many shares to trade as people are waiting? I think that could be a story to watch too. We could see, a big move up or down because people are panicked, right? Where are my shares at? Why don't I have all my shares? So we'll see.
Definitely. I mean, it happened to me one time. I was there and I'm just like, yo, so what happened? You know what? It's kind of funny. You know what my broker showed me?
What?
That the money was just gone. Like the money just disappeared from my account. I had no stock. So of course it didn't show the asset value. And then my money was just gone. I just look in the morning and I'm like, oh yeah. What's going on here?
I had that happen on one broker where it showed essentially took the money out, right? So it made it zero. The other one I see a lot, Mitch, on, like what my IRA account is, it'll show the new ticker, but it won't have a cost basis. So it doesn't tell me what I paid. So I'm like, oh shit, like how much did I pay for this again? Am I up or am I down? It just says NA because it's a new ticker. And I'm like, no, these aren't free. I bought these. How much did I pay? So, and it usually takes a day or two for that to catch up. So something to watch next week, with the ticker change.
No, definitely something that I'm going to keep on watch. I mean, the vehicles themselves are supposed to have some production in this year, right, Chris?
Yeah, so we're supposed to get deliveries the second half of this year. That's only for the Lucid Air, which is the premium model, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be next year or another year until they really start coming down in price. So this is similar, Lucid, Faraday Future, where they're really going after the premium electric vehicle model, right? The 6 figures. So we got to get through that before we really see, the mass production kick in. So I think that could be a reason why some investors actually get out of this name is because, when it comes to delivery numbers and reservation numbers, they're still going to be relatively small because, Mitch, we've talked about it, right? That's still kind of a niche market, right? The people that can afford the 6-figure electric vehicle. I know I'm not in that camp. So it's going to take a little bit.
Shucks. That's all I got to say. Shucks. No, but definitely. I mean, and then when you come to think about it, I think when you get that vehicle and you're up there in that class, there's a couple different vehicles up in that class, right? You got the Porsche, you got the Tesla, and you got the Lucid Air. And if you wanted, I mean, you could bring the Faraday into there. And there's a lot. There's a lot to offer at that level. So I think when you get up towards that level, you're talking about very slight differences. Brand appreciation, I think it's going to very matter. And that's why Tesla, I think, even has a lead, even on all of them right now. Even though I think for some reason, I think that Porsche won't do too bad. I know they've been working very hard on that for a long time. But CCIV fans out there, once they're able to get a cheaper vehicle, that's when I really would be focusing. That you can remember, I always, and I'll give it to the guy, Jason, if you're listening out there, I'll give you the shout out. You're always saying, he's always said, Jason Radnick always said that he was expecting to see that he'd tell Spencer, he'd be like, there's like one Tesla in every parking lot now, but in like 5 years, it's going to be like 10, 20. And I mean, the guy was kind of right on that end. And I mean, where are we going to go towards in 5 years from now? Is it going to be like 80% of the vehicles in the parking lot electric? Very much could be. And that's why I think that's a big topic.
I think we do see that. We're seeing that with some of these European countries, right, where the market share of electrics over 50%. And the thing then to watch here is, how many players can there be in the market? And that's something, Mitch, we cover on SPACs Attack, right? There's a lot of EV companies out there. They're probably not all going to make it long term. So, is Lucid one of those companies that's really going to make it long term, as a solid electric vehicle company, whereas some of these others or some of these legacy players, who are focusing still on gas cars and electric, who's going to make it? Who's going to really gain that market share? And I think, Tesla had a huge lead, a huge head start. They're going to be able to sell more vehicles, so more units, but their market share, I think, actually drops, right? Because there'll be more players. So, that's another angle to watch there, with Tesla as well.
Love the comments in the chat. That's what this show's all really about. That's what I like the Stories of the Week show. I want the opinions coming in the chat. Keep it going, guys. And yeah, I mean, Plaid versus Air. I mean, to tell you the truth, speed-wise, the Plaid's going to win. Speed-wise, I can tell you that right now. I don't know if they're going to change something up in the Air to try to compete. Speed-wise, the Plaid's going to win. But I think a little bit of that design in the Air might catch up in the Plaid. A lot of the Tesla downside look towards the Plaid was that they didn't really do too much to the design of the vehicle, right? And so this is where I think, maybe the Air could catch up some space, is in the design of the vehicle, the aesthetics of it, right? And so we'll see if it really catches up and if the sales can kind of at one day meet. All right, let's go ahead. Let's move on to the next one. Ford and GM going to come eat that lunch. Vista. I'm sure Detroit would love that.
I feel like Ford and GM, they were late to the game. They're playing catch up now. Mitch, that could be another topic someday. Is do we start to see some consolidation? Does someone go, hey, I want to go after EV now, and they just buy out one of these companies rather than trying to build out their own network? So that could be a story for a different day. For Ford and GM and all these others to catch up.
Definitely. Let's go into the next topic here. We're going to start talking a little bit about space. We'll talk a little bit about Bezos, of course. We're going to talk about that, but we can also, Chris and I, this is one of our favorite areas just because I think Chris and I still get stuck like little kids looking at the stars, but I mean, I can't blame us. But let's talk a little bit about the Bezos to space, man. What do you think?
As someone who, was fascinated by space as a kid, Mitch, we've talked about this many times. I enjoyed it, right? There were lots of memeable moments of the rocket ship, of Bezos with the cowboy hat. But outside of that, it was really fun to watch, right? And
it was.
They were only up in space, for about 11 minutes or whatever. But still, like, what a fascinating experience, for them to take part in. Bezos founded Blue Origin. So, like, this is his baby, right? This is his company. He didn't just pay, someone a bunch of money to go up. Like, he did this. Like, he created this company so he could go to space. Same thing with Richard Branson with, Virgin Galactic. So something to watch. But, it was pretty exciting to see them, blast off. Wally Funk, right? She's 80 years old, over 80. To see her go up to space, complete that dream that she wasn't able to do because women weren't allowed in NASA years ago. I thought that was a fascinating story and a great call by Jeff Bezos to say, hey, come on my ship and let's go to space. So great PR move there by Bezos too.
Yeah, I mean, just to let you guys know, this is a little sped up. I sped it up 2 times, so the rocket didn't go this fast. But just so you can get a kind of a view, I mean, it was definitely something to see. I mean, I'm just glad everything went fine. I mean, I know that there were some people who kind of starting to get to the point where they were even wishing bad for my man Bezos. But at the end of the day, I mean, Bezos gave me Amazon. I know people start hating on Amazon, but at the end of the day, Prime delivery, baby. Prime delivery. Without Amazon, I don't think we ever would have got 1 to 2 day shipping on anything. Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
They forced the whole industry to change towards that. And that's what really changed up the delivery industry. But talking about space here, Bezos, I'm not too blown out on his company himself here. I'm way more of a SpaceX fan, and I'll clearly say that. SpaceX ever goes public, I think we all know where we're going. But at the same time, it's good to see the competition, because with the competition comes the innovation, I think. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I think that's spot on, right? When I talked to Andrew, the founder of the UFO Space ETF, one of the big things he said was that the SpaceX, right, getting the rocket costs down has transformed the space industry. And that's why he created the ETF, right, is because there's so many opportunities for these space companies. I watched Virgin Galactic this week. Obviously, I'm a shareholder, SPCE. The thing with SPCE, I'll point out, is, I looked at the chart today, Mitch. So shares opened for trading at 29.07 on Monday. They closed the week at 29.58. So Virgin Galactic essentially ended flat on the week, but they had a couple pops, a couple drops, right? So if you followed along with the Blue Origin story, you bought in before that, you sold before, it came down, you could have done quite well. But ultimately, this ended up kind of being a non-mover, for Virgin Galactic, surprisingly, since they are, the competitor. I saw someone mention in the chat some other space names. I'm really watching Rocket Labs here, Mitch. VACQ. Remember we talked.
No one knows.
Yeah, we talked on SPAX Attack, right? They announced their date coming up in August. They have a merger vote in August. Remember, Rocket Labs actually had that aborted mission earlier this year. They actually, it actually hurt Black Sky, right? SFTW, because they were going to have satellites sent up. Rocket Labs had NASA tour their facility yesterday. They shouted that out on Twitter. I'm liking that one again, Mitch. If you can't own SpaceX, what's the next best company you can own? Rocket Labs is a SpaceX competitor. They actually take, objects up to space. They don't take, people like a Blue Origin or a Virgin Galactic. So I like the story there with Rocket Labs as well.
Yeah, someone's bringing up the other one too that had been mentioned to eventually do the same thing. SRAC, that one is also said to be the FedEx, but going through some struggles right now.
Yeah, SRAC, I sold out of that. There's too many red flags there now for me.
He looked down and it said,
they got
out.
Yeah, they got the fine from the SEC. There's all kinds of, more, calls coming to really, go after that company. I just, the long-term story of being the FedEx of space would be awesome, right? I think that's a cool thing, but they just right now they're struggling. So I'm sitting on the sidelines, right? It's not that I don't believe in them long-term, but I just felt that my money could go better, somewhere else, as I think they struggled to get the vote through.
Definitely. One of the things that I want to talk about, and G-Man bringing it in here, is how many satellite companies have actually come out now. For a second there, I thought, it was only going to be about 2 major ones that were public. And now it looks like we have like 4, right?
Yeah, we're getting more. There was 2 or 3 SPAC ones, I think, over the last couple months.
Yeah.
Planet, the big one, right? DMYQ from our boy, Niccolo De Masi. They had a NASA deal signed yesterday as well. I really like with Planet, Mitch. Remember when Niccolo told us that they're so far ahead of the competition. They already have over 200 satellites. They're already doing this. Now, the big question is they do have some competition, including one who says that they can do it cheaper, right? Which we know there's several catalysts there, right? First mover advantage, how strong is that? And cost to companies. What happens when you have to weigh those against each other? So we'll see. But didn't Niccolo tell us that Planet, they do vertical integration where they make their own satellites too, instead of buying, from companies? I think that's a key advantage. So, DMYQ definitely on my watch in the satellite space.
My favorite, Black Sky. That's one of my favorites, and I done the research. The Planet definitely started leaning me over a little bit when we were talking to Niccolo. I mean, he definitely gave me a lot of insight on a little bit more. I talked about it with him about the contract that's coming up. I think that's very important. You got to know what kind of contracts exist in space if you really want to know this sector. That's when I started really doing a little bit better and understanding this sector, was instead of just only looking at the contracts that had already been signed, I started looking at what potential contracts are out there in the next couple of years. And so there's a big contract that's coming up in 2023. And so with that being said, you have to pay attention to this industry going in towards that year. And a lot of these SPACs gave out some really high projections going after those years, after 2023. That's the reason why, I think, is that they expect themselves to get that contract. And with that contract comes a lot of that green. So we'll see how it happens. And really, my thing with satellite companies is that they go after contracts. I think that's important too, because I mean, it's a lot easier to nail one contract maybe than I think like 1,000 customers. Maybe that's just my view on it, but at the same time, I think it's better to go after those big contracts because you land so much towards the revenue and the bottom line. And that quarter alone, you'll see the spike. So we'll see what happens.
That makes sense, Mitch, right? You're better to get one big lump sum, right, from one customer than from a bunch of little ones. And also that can really help your backlog, right? When we saw some of these companies announce deals, that they had these revenue projections, but how much of it was actual booked revenue, that was secured by contracts? Some of them had big numbers, right, where they could say, hey, 80% of next year's revenue is in our backlog fully funded. And then others, it was, hey, this is what we're projecting, like you said, because they think they're going to get some future deals. But the question is, can all these companies get the same future deals? Oof. The answer is going to be no, right? They can't all win. So
you can't. That's the main thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be a battle. Now I can see it. Now I can see it coming. Another thing that I see coming, it was a company that I gave a lot of upside look towards, was Maxar, because it was the leader. It was taking off. It was in the public market, and it was definitely doing really well. Now this is the company that I'd start looking at to start getting a little bit of their pie taken from them. So that's what we're going to start seeing. I mean, they're the ones that had the majority of the contracts prior to this. And that contract that's running out is the reason why. They started to look outside of Maxar for other options. And it's nothing to say anything against Maxar. It's just more along, I mean, when you only go to one provider, what does that do? That creates no competition of price, which essentially, you kind of want to do if you're going to give these big contracts out. So,
Mitch, we got Solar up back in the chat. He's calling out how many drinks people should be drinking. Once again, Solar, shout out to you. We love our chat here. Mitch, space is so exciting. All these satellite companies, all these rocket companies. I'm not a big ETF guy. I love picking my own stocks. But this is the time where, like, part of me, it just wants to buy a space ETF, right? I just want to add like a UFO, put it in my IRA and say, hey, space is going to be huge the next 5-10 years.
That it is.
Because there's going to be some winners, there's going to be some losers, but I really think the whole industry is going to see, more winners than losers, which makes the ETF possibly the play there.
You know what I got to say, man? It's good to be in the good old USA, man, where we have these space programs.
Right?
So I'm looking forward towards it. You guys look forward towards it. Up next, guys, we got a good show. We got a brand new one for you. Chris, new show,
What do we got?
man.
What do we got? I don't know if I heard about this one.
We're going to do the top clips of the week. These are the top Benzinga moments from our coverage all week. We're going to pull the top 5. Spencer Israel is probably kicking it off already and being like, when the hell are you getting off, Mitch? But let's go ahead. Let's get towards that. I wanted to do a little preview so you guys know where I'm transferring you right now. Check it out, guys. I'm going to bring my beer. Meet me there.